Alright, my next objective is to create a door and a key that opens up a door. So let's create the key first. I'll start with the primitives. We'll add it here. We'll call it red key. Then scene manager. Will support creating a red key. Alright, width 0.3, depth, make it very skinny, and height width, height, width, maybe width is less than this. Height. And give it a color. Alright, so that's a red key. And how does that look? Okay, it's a red key. Alright, let me change it to the transform gizmo. Collaborative edit transform. Gizmo manager. Enable transform gizmo. Okay, so position gizmo. Alright, so we don't want bounding box gizmo. I want this gizmo manager, rotation gizmo enabled, and this gizmo manager scale gizmo enabled. On rotation sphere. Alright, so these two are bounding box gizmos. We would not need these anymore. We need this gizmo manager, gizmos, rotation gizmo, on drag. It occurs we can send more of these messages, but let's just make this feature compatible. This is a callback with data and state. And then we just do this broadcast new rotation and gizmo manager gizmos scale gizmo on drag end observable add state. Whoa. Okay, delete that. Give me back the grid. And give me the red key again. Where's the red key? Transform. If I refresh this, it should take the new position, and it did. The floor is kind of getting in the way. Let me lighten that. So this is the nav mesh, nav manager. Create nav mesh. Create nav mesh here. How about the visibility? Anything on visibility here? How about debug? Go debug mesh. Here we go. Alpha. Make the alpha very, very light. And also make it maybe a little bit blue. RGB. Less red. Something like that. There we go. That looks better. Okay. Got this thing. And let's make it collectible. Back to scene manager, red key, and add some tag, which make it collectible. Maybe we can add some metadata to it, so maybe mesh metadata equal, and we'll call this one door red. So it opens a door that is red. Okay, so we now have keys that we can come over here and collect. So by collecting the red key, we have this gen server that knows that the entity is collected by a member. But if we want to quickly check to see if we own the key, it's kind of hard, right? We'd have to like we don't have this data readily for us. Let's see, we get the message that it's been collected, and we do have a collect manager, I think. Collect manager. This is just checking that it emits this, and when we get this in the entity collected decide who's listening for entity collected. So avatar manager makes it hidden, and bullet manager replenishes the bullets. So we could have a kind of door manager, which is listening for entity collected and then keeping track of the keys that you have and whether you can open them or not. What? So maybe we need a door manager. Close some of these. Door manager. Handles the state for each door. How should we handle creating a door? We can create a red door, pull it into place, and then with all the doors that are present, we have to find them, assuming they're all closed. Okay, let's create the door first. So let's go to prim, red key, let's say red door. Here's a red door. We'll just create a large door. So the width will be, let's say, 2 meters, maybe 3 meters wide. The depth, 5 centimeters, or maybe make it a thick door, 1 decimeter, and the height will be 3 meters wide. Just need 2.5. And then the color is that metadata is also door red. So now transform. Whoops. Oh. Just moving it out of the way. Cut and back, and we'll create something, right? Red door. It's a very large door. Maybe just make it 2 meters wide. Okay. And the tag should be that it's a kind of door. And then when you click on it, how to do the collectible manager? It just listens for a click. And it sends a message. So this probably needs to know how many keys we collected. So I think door manager, we'll just copy everything from collect manager. We'll call it door manager. Okay, we're going to listen to the same point of pick, except we're listening for if the thing you clicked on is a door. If it is, yeah, we got to be close to it. And this have key for door, give me the mesh. Gotta write the function. Have key for door, and this is the mesh. What does this do? This needs to return a boolean. Return true, let's say. We need a set of keys. Actually, I guess are just strings. Or it could be objects. Public keys is an object. Does it have a set? Just TypeScript set. Set of string. It does. New set of string. Actually, you can just say set of string, and then assign that as keys equals new set of string, and then we're going to listen for key being collected. Let's go to the bullet manager. We listen to when entity was collected here. So when entity is collected and you're this member ID, and it's a key. So we said it was a collectible. We should also say it's a key. So then this thing needs to be a key. So collected mesh, gonna get that, and well, I guess you're not finding it by the tag. So it doesn't really need this. You can look at the metadata and say it has door. So there's a collected mesh, and it has metadata, and it has metadata door. Then this keys add the value for this, which in our case would be red. So if it doesn't have that, we're collecting something else, then it'll get ignored. Over here, have key for door. So this has to have a tag that says that it is a door. Actually, we're just saying metadata as well, so we can look at that too. So we could say we're doing a pick, and then there's a picked mesh, and then picked mesh has metadata and picked mesh metadata as a value for door. And if all that's true, it'll come through here, and the distance to the camera is less than 2, and you have a key for the door, which means that this keys has mesh metadata door, which is a string. So if all this is true, then it should emit console.log can open door. Else console log too far or don't have key. I think I also need to listen to the about to see who has which keys, right? For about space to see which keys I already have. So let's say we're starting over. I'm in here. Here's a door. Do I have a key? Let's check. I think this is a key I might have. This is something I moved. Okay. So let's come over here and click on it. Okay, got nothing. Let's go into the door manager. So I'm probably listening for the pointer pick, and then it has to have picked on a mesh, and then it has to have a metadata of being of a door. So we get down here. Let's first see if we're making it down here. So let's see, console log pointer pick. This is working. Oh, this is instantiated. We created a door manager. We're not calling it from anywhere. C manager, collect manager comes from here. Now let's put up a new door manager. We need this member ID and also this thing. Alright, so now we can maybe get some output. Okay, too far or don't have key. Great. Great. Now I actually do have the key. So let's listen to, I think Bullet Manager might do this. Who's listening to sing about scene or about space? Avatar Manager listens to it. Okay. Yeah, this says if you need to grab something, release something, or if you collected something. So we're all also listening for if you collected something. Let's copy this bit, put this into collect manager, door manager. And if entity collected, so this is the only one I'm interested in. Entity collected, and we're talking about me, and event p member ID is equal to this member ID. All those things I collected, I'm interested to see if any of them have keys. The other way I could have done this is if every key was marked with a tag of key, I still wouldn't know if they were assigned to me because the entities don't know that. They just disappeared. So I have to go through this data, and I'm only interested in those that were collected by me. I just now need to check to see if it has my metadata. So I need to go through and say let the entity equal this scene, find get mesh by ID with the event p entity ID, and if entity, then if entity and entity metadata and entity metadata door, then I can add these keys. So this keys add the value entity metadata door. So that adds the key. And now I should have that key. So scene manager door. Okay, door manager is not assigned anywhere. Now let's just try it. Too far. I don't have the key. Can open the door. Okay, I can open the door. Okay, great. How far am I? I think I should be able to open the door. No, we want to get up close. Can't open the door. Okay, so it does work. Let's assign these so that we can reference them. In fact, there's a lot of them. Damage overlay, HUD manager, collect manager, door manager. Collect manager and door manager. Let's add that. Okay, now we need to actually open it. So we have to animate it. And does everybody else see that I'm opening it? So we need to send a message. And the message is what? Could be entity transformed. How do we handle entity transformed? Entity transformed. It's handled inside scene manager here. This will animate the component. So I added a new type of message so that we can reserve entity transformed for modifying the scene itself. But if we just want to animate something temporarily, I added this new message, entity animated offset, which gives an optional position or rotation. And then when we broadcast this message from the door manager, if we're close enough to the door, within 3 meters, and we have a key for the door, we're going to broadcast entity animated offset, lifting it up 3 meters in the Y direction over a period of 3 seconds. And it will be scene manager to receive this message everywhere, and it will animate it. But for it to persist, we need to add one other thing, which is inside the gen server, space server, we'll need to handle this thing about entity. Let's see, where it is. Remember left. Here we go. All of these are actually the same here. This entity grabbed, entity released, entity collected are all just saving it into the event into this state. So maybe we can create a new message called save last event for entity, and we'll move this in here. And so we'll need the original event, and we'll need the state, and I think that's all we need. So then when we're doing handle cast of entity grabbed, I think we can just pass in save last event with the event and the state. Same with this, save with the event and the state, and same with this, save last event and state. Now we've got a new one, which is, what's happening here, tuple is unused, tuple, okay, oh, handle event needs the tuple. Okay, so we need the tuple, event. Alright, just give the tuple here, tuple, tuple, tuple. Okay, and then we'll add final cast if it's an event, and entity animated offset. That's a tuple and a state, and then we'll just give this to we'll give this to what? Yep, same thing. Save last event for entity, event, tuple, and state. So this should save it into the gen server. So if something is animated, it will be in here for that entity. But for us to process that correctly, we'll need to see who's processing the about space message. And this avatar will process that for who's grabbing it. Door manager. Yes, door manager can handle about who has collected keys, but also which things are opened, right? Else if event m equal event name entity animated offset, we'll go ahead and move those into position. So if we want to know anything else about it, we'll just put that right into place. So we gotta find the entity by that ID, and I think it's just ID here. And then process this in the same way that the scene would process new events. So we go to scene manager. This is how we were doing it. So grab that. We'll probably extract this somewhere because we're not handling rotations. Anyway, we'll put this over there for now. This goes into door manager. Actually, I don't think this should be exclusively about doors. I think scene manager should process it. Scene manager is processing this thing. We should just handle about that spacing here, which we're not. So let's go to the door manager and copy this. And we'll put it into scene manager. And we'll listen to the initial state, in particular for entity animated offset. And here we'll get the entity ID. And we just need to move it into position. So if the entity exists, then entity position equal, and we'll just snap it into place. So Babylon vector 3 from array comes from event payload pods. And we'll just pop that into place. Entity animated offset for rotation. Okay, let's see if this works. So we'll go into Chrome. Let's see if it will. I believe I have the key. Maybe I don't have the key. I guess I don't. Where's the key? Well, let's start a new gen server. There's a key. There's a key. I've got the key. Whoa. The table identifier does not refer to an EDS table insert that update pause rot. Okay, entity ID not in. Okay, so we're looking for an entity ID in here and didn't get one. Ah. So we must use entity ID. That makes sense. Let's just use entity ID everywhere. Right. So our gen server terminated. Let's make a quick change here because this save event is expecting entity ID in the payload, and in our types this was called ID, but let's leave it entity ID. Then we got to fix a couple of these things. Then exit again, come back in. Pick up the key. I'm good. I'm going to now open the door. Door is open. I'm going to refresh now, hoping that the door has stayed open, and it is. It's a little bit lower than when it was fully opened. Oh, that's because we need to add it. That's right. So in Scene Manager, Animated Offset, in the About section, this needs to be, of course, needs to be add in place, and it will just be other vector, just add all of these in place. And now it should be the proper height. Yep. Alright, this is a good place to stop.